Your hand is already moving before you've decided anything. You weren't bored, nothing buzzed, no one texted, but somehow your phone is in your hand. The screen is lit, and you're scrolling through something you didn't even choose to open. A few seconds later, you blink and ask yourself a strange question. What was I even looking for? The easy answer is willpower, or the lack of it. You tell yourself you're addicted, undisciplined, too online. But the real answer has almost nothing to do with character. Your hand isn't weak. It's running one of the oldest, most successful behavior patterns ever discovered. And it just happens to be aimed at a glass rectangle that didn't exist a generation ago. To understand why, you have to go back to a small wooden box in a laboratory decades before smartphones existed. In the 1950s, the psychologist B.F. Skinner ran a series of experiments that would quietly explain your relationship with your phone before phones were invented. He placed pigeons inside a chamber with a lever. Peck the lever, get a food pellet. Simple enough. But Skinner didn't stop there. He started changing how often the lever paid out. Sometimes every peck worked. Sometimes it took 5 pecks. Sometimes 50. The schedule was random, unpredictable, what researchers call a variable ratio reinforcement schedule. And something unexpected happened. The pigeons on the unpredictable schedule didn't peck less. They pecked more. They pecked harder, faster, and longer than the pigeons who got a reliable, predictable reward every single time. Certainty made them calm. Uncertainty made them obsessive. That single finding became one of the most replicated results in behavioral science, and it's the exact mechanism sitting underneath every notification badge, every pull to refresh, every infinite scroll you've ever done. You're not checking your phone because you know something good is there. You're checking it because you don't know, and not knowing is the most compelling reason your brain has ever found to keep looking. Skinner found something else, almost as important. Behavior trained on a variable schedule doesn't just happen more often, it becomes nearly impossible to stop. When the reliable pigeons stopped getting rewarded at all, they gave up pecking almost immediately. The pigeons trained on random, unpredictable rewards kept pecking for a long time after the rewards disappeared completely, hundreds of pecks into a dry, empty lever, refusing to believe the reward was really gone. Psychologists call this resistance to extinction, and it's the precise reason you keep refreshing an app even after you've already seen everything new, even after rationally you know nothing else is coming. Your brain isn't convinced yet. It was trained not to be. But why would not knowing feel so good in the first place? For that, you need a different kind of research, one that looks inside the brain instead of inside a behavior. In the 1990s, the neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz was recording individual dopamine neurons in monkeys while they waited for rewards. The early assumption was simple: dopamine fires when you get something good. A treat arrives, dopamine spikes, you feel pleasure. Schultz's data told a stranger story. Dopamine wasn't responding to the reward itself. It was responding to the gap between expectation and outcome, what scientists now call a reward prediction error. And the biggest dopamine spikes weren't triggered by a guaranteed treat. They were triggered by an uncertain one, a reward that might or might not show up. Remove the uncertainty, and the dopamine response shrinks. The brain, it turns out, isn't built to reward you for getting things. It's built to reward you for the act of finding out. Put those two findings together, and your phone stops looking like a personal failure and starts looking like a perfectly engineered loop. Every time you unlock the screen, you're pulling a lever. Sometimes there's nothing. Sometimes there's a message that matters. A like, a reply, a small, unexpected hit of social information. You can't predict which one you'll get, and that unpredictability is precisely what keeps the loop running. Your dopamine system doesn't care whether the reward is a food pellet or a notification. It only cares about the uncertainty surrounding it. Later work building on Schultz's findings, tracking the same dopamine neurons across rewards delivered at different probabilities, found something almost poetic. The strongest, most sustained dopamine activity didn't occur when a reward was likely, and it didn't occur when a reward was unlikely either. It peaked right around 50-50, the exact point of maximum uncertainty. the precise odds of whether your phone has something for you the next time you glance at it. Here's the part most people miss, though. This circuitry wasn't built for phones. It was built for something much older and far more important to your ancestors' survival.